probably recognize this one. This is the Winchester 94, and this one's in 30-30. It's a classic lever action rifle, maybe the one that all are compared to. We're going to take this, we're going to give this a nice cleaning and lube this up. We'll get it ready to shoot, ready to take it to the range or through the hunting season. Our biggest emphasis today is going to be on cleaning the bore, all right, and do no harm. So we want to clean this thing. We don't want to ruin this thing. So ideally, you want to have a nice coated 30 caliber cleaning rod. This one has that nice soft coating, so it's not going to scratch the bore. It's not going to damage the crown, and it's got this nice little ball bearing handle on it, and the brass jag at the end, so we can run patches through it. That's what we want to have. But say you're stuck with the old jointed, universal cleaning rod. We can use this too, but we're gonna have to use it with a bore protector. All right, I don't have a bore protector. Well, neither did I till I made one. I took a 243 brass case, cut the end off. This now is gonna go over the cleaning rod. It's gonna fit just about perfectly in the end of this barrel. I'll put that 243 shell in there. Now that cleaning rod is going to be riding on the inside of that brass case. It's not going to damage the bore. It's not going to damage the crown. This is going to protect the crown as I'm cleaning it all the time. So there we go. There's my bore protector sitting right there in the end of the barrel. This would be our second option. Now you could drop a bore snake through this. Start at the breech end or the action end and drop it out, pull it out. That's also an option. So we got maybe 3 different ways of looking at this. Today we're going to look at cleaning it with that rod. All right, let's go ahead and clean this bore. I've got a patch here on the end of my cleaning rod. I'm going to wet it with some hops number 9. So we'll get this a little bit wet. I'm using a Q-tip to apply, so that way I'm not just dipping dirty patches or anything or contaminating my whole bottle of hops number 9. Once I get it wet, I'm just going to run it down the bore. We'll get that started. There we go. Now, you're going to notice a couple of things. I have the rifle upside down, so the lever's up. That's why I don't want to push anything through that barrel and drop it out into the action. With the rifle upside down, anything that goes through that barrel is going to drop down into my tray here. So I'm just going to run this patch down. And you saw that, did you see that patch drop out? There. So we see we've got a little bit of carbon fouling on that patch. Not too bad, but we're going to run another patch through. So that patch was wetted with the hops number 9. I'm going to run a dry patch through. So I've got my dry patch now. We'll run that down to the same bore. You saw that dry patch drop out. Where are we at? You can kind of see some of that carbon and powder fouling on that dry patch. Now what we'll do, we've let that hops number 9 sit in there for a little bit. We'll keep running dry patches through until the patches come out clean. Okay, you can see by our pile of patches that we've run several patches through there till we get where it started coming out clean. The very first ones, they're all dark and carboned up, and the last ones are almost white. So we got the bore pretty well cleaned. You can run a oil patch if you want to leave an oil barrel, or you can leave a dry barrel if you're going to be shooting it in near future. Let's turn the rifle over. Now, if you go through your owner's manual, if you find an owner's manual online, It tells you where. That's about all the cleaning it tells you really to do on a Winchester 3030. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take this stock off. And what you want to do is you want to select the right screw bit. That's going to be a really good snug fit inside that screw slot. And if you can stand it up in there, we got a pretty snug fit to begin with. So I'm just going to loosen this screw. And there's only this one screw holding the stock on. So we'll get this off here. This one screw's going to come out. We'll keep that close by. Now this whole stock is just going to slide right off. All right, this is really about as far as we need to take this rifle apart. The places we want to oil is going to be this bolt surface and the bolt rails within the receiver. We have this rear locking lug. We want to oil at the bottom and put a couple drops of oil here at the top of it, because that bolt's going to be sliding up and down. Where the trigger guard has a pivot is a good oil spot, and where we get here forward, that forward pin is another oil spot. This mainspring, really don't need to worry too much about that, and this hammer, where it pivots here, we can put a little bit of oil there, and where the hammer pivots. You can see where the firing pin is sticking out, which is going to be struck by the hammer. You can put a drop of oil on that also, because that is going to be moving inside or moving within that bolt. But that's all the moving parts. We got pretty well oiled up. We should be good to go. The last thing we would do, once we got our action all oiled up and got our bore and chamber cleaned, we're just going to take a nice silicone impregnated rag. We're just going to wipe this down. You can just use regular a CLP. We're going to wipe down any fingerprints. Put a nice little thin coat of oil on all the metal surfaces. Ready to put it back in the safe.